Welcome to the We Talk Careers podcast, brought to you by Women in ETFs. This is Christine Delano, and I'm thrilled you've joined us. If you're pursuing excellence in your own career or intrigued by the hustle required to make it to the top, this podcast is for you. This is season 6, and we are dropping in on leaders across the globe. We're going to learn how to balance, how to speak truth to power, and how to have fun doing it. So put aside that massive to-do list and let's get inspired. On this episode, we have Hilary Hendershott joining us. And from just our initial conversations, you are in for a treat. I am excited to dive into her career and some real fundamental ways that she has thought about herself and her success. So welcome, Hilary, to the We Talk Careers podcast.
I'm so happy to be here. Thanks.
I'm so excited to have you here. So why don't you give a little introduction to our listeners out there?
Oh, wow. Okay. Absolutely. I'm Hilary Hendershott. I'm the owner and founder of Hendershott Wealth Management. We're a medium-sized, comprehensive fiduciary wealth management firm based in Fishers, Indiana. I have a team of about 10.
Wonderful. And what brought you to that? Was that your second grade dream, is to become a financial advisor to the wealthy?
Second grade dream was to be an Olympic swimmer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you have, you don't have the shoulders for it.
I actually do. Yeah, I do.
Oh, are you built? You're beautiful. So I don't know.
My back looks like this to this day. Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay. So it was not a pipe dream. It was actually something
I was working on it.
Yeah.
I was working on it. Yeah, I swam all the way through college. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Oh, that's
It's a good
great.
sport, although it's really bad for your hair.
Yes. Well, it has recovered, which is nice.
Thanks to my stylist and a very expensive partnership she and I have. But anyway, let's see. I graduated from college with a degree in economics, and I went to work. I think I was definitely chasing that corner office type of thing. I went to work in management consulting. They stuck me in a back closet, and I managed several hundred pages of Excel spreadsheets for about a year before I said, I can't do this. I can't do this. So then I went to work
for a closet. Yeah.
No. And I just couldn't see an upline, they would highlight the people who were getting promoted, but it wasn't clear to me, how was that going to happen for me? So I went in, and this was in the year 2000. I went to work for a Silicon Valley startup. We had $20 million of venture capital and spent every penny of it. I was a recruiter for that firm, and then had some sort of twists and turns in my career. My father was actually a financial advisor, and I kind of felt lost. I mean, you remember what happened in 2000 was the dot bomb. So everything exploded. You had people were multimillionaires on paper. Absolutely. And then they were delivering the mail. And so I went to work for my father.
And then fast forward to 2006 and not so much.
Exactly. So I started sitting in on client meetings kind of the year that happened in 2000. And it was a phenomenon to me because here I was, basically broke. I mean, I was a recent college grad, and you had people who were multimillionaires and their 401ks had turned into 201ks. And I mean, people were upset. It was a very emotional time. So man, I earned my stripes. I mean, it was a lot. And I pretty quickly realized that being in wealth management is really, it's a very human career. It's face-to-face, knee-to-knee, eyeball to eyeball. Now it's Zoom to Zoom. But what you're actually doing, what I actually get to do, is help people in a very real way, because money is really emotional for people in an area of life that's really important. I mean, money is up there. It's one of the primary domains of life, whether you deal with it or not. And it just happens to be something that I enjoy doing. I was never excited by, you talk a lot on your show about a group called Women in ETFs. I was never excited by mutual funds or ETFs per se. However, I am excited about what they can do for people. So I was with my father's firm for, I'm going to get the numbers slightly wrong. I know I founded my firm in 2014. He definitely was grooming me to be the business continuation plan. And at some point, I just had to say, it's not going to happen. That's a whole different podcast interview, though.
Right.
However,
disappointing our parents. Absolutely.
running, being inside a family business. Oh my goodness. Oh my
Oh.
goodness. I'm proud to say he and I are two peas in a pod today. So
Mm.
it's all worked out. However, that massive failure, and of course that was one of the most difficult conversations I've ever had in my life, was the only thing that gave me the courage to go out on my own. I never thought when I was growing up in the industry, my colleagues looked and talked and dressed like my dad. That
Right.
I looked around me, my competitors are 20, 25, sometimes 30 years older than me, silver
Yeah.
foxes with the Wall Street three-piece
Hmm.
suits, right? And they would give me the airtime of about 3 seconds. I mean,
Yeah.
they pat me on the shoulder and ask me whose admin was I, and did my daddy let me talk to clients? And oh my gosh, the amount of derision was just prolific, and I internalized it. There was no other messaging.
Right.
And my dad would say things like, put 15 millionaires in a room. That was how he thought I was going to cut my teeth.
Yes.
Because that's how he did it in the 80s with a Rolodex and the yellow pages and radio ads and stuff like that. So anyway, I've done it differently. My firm has always been by women for women. That said, almost 40% of my clients are male. Okay.
Mm.
Right. Women tend to be married to men. That's kind of
Yes.
how that
Yeah.
goes. And so I call our male clients the enlightened male population. And, all I mean when I say that the firm is by women for women is that I've taken everything I hated about the male domination of the industry and kind of turned it on its ear, just turned it upside
Mm.
down. We've leaned into everything that can and should be delivered to women when it comes to their financial services. So it's excellent wealth management delivered with compassion, honesty, transparency, and care.
Beautiful. I have to say, I was thinking back on 2000, and that was probably the year that my husband and I went to a financial advisor for like the first time. And so,
Mm.
I had, I was a neuroscience undergrad to your economics, and then I had a degree in engineering and then got probably over promoted in my first Wall Street firm. So I was
Yay.
making money that needed somebody to be taking a look at it, and I could fake my way through any conversation, hence the over promotion. And so we went into a financial advisor, and my husband like cares less about money. Like it's just, he sort of had a little bit of it growing up, and so like it's just to him, it's just a tool. And to me, I didn't grow up with it. So it was like emotional as I thought about it. And I was, so we interviewed a few financial advisors and it went the exact same way. Sit down, introduce, they pull out their yellow pad and they draw me
Hmm.
a pie chart. And I'm like, can you not draw me a pie chart? Like, can we talk about our goals? Can we talk about what's going on? So I would ask a question. They would watch me as I asked. Then they would pivot to my
Look at
husband
your
and
husband.
answer the question. And so the first couple times, it's like, whatever. The third person, I remember my husband being like, can you look at her? Like, I don't care. Like, I don't even really want to be here. Like she's the
Right.
one who wants to be here. And we ended up not hiring anyone. I ended up trying to like figure it out on my own. I now have an amazing team and all of that. But for a long time, there wasn't an option like you. There weren't people that were willing to talk to people like me who didn't look like the other people that you were
Correct.
assembling in the 15 people in the room. So,
This is the
um,
quintessential female experience at
yes.
a male financial advisor. I tell them, I say to my team, it is so easy to be better than them.
Yes. Yes. And you don't even know how sometimes it's so insulting, It's like, and they want to give me credit, and that's even worse, It's like, "Oh, bravo for you." Like they start clapping. I'm like, "Are you seriously? We're in this business meaning you're clapping for me?" Anyway, I could go on, and I'm sure so many people could as well. Like,
You are the reason, your experience is the reason I am wealthy today.
beautiful. So how did you get the confidence of leaving that, seeing, what your father had built in terms of his own success and deciding something different from yourself, like for yourself? How did that, like, how were you able to tease out and have the confidence to move forward?
So I definitely had some markers of success. I did really great in school. I was always like acknowledged in measured objective ways for like setting the curve in the class or getting a 4.0 grade average, or my GMAT score qualifies me for Mensa. I mean, so I knew I was smart, okay? But I thought that I was in the wrong industry because I was the wrong gender and the wrong age. I was way too young. And I had really fallen in love. So I was 34, 35, something like that. And I was so unhappy in my father's firm. And finally, my partner at the time, he's my husband now, said, "Your unhappiness is impacting our relationship." And it was that conversation that was the turning point for me. It was like I was willing to sustain any kind of emotional dissatisfaction, lack of fulfillment, frustration personally, but I wasn't willing to let it cost me this man, this relationship, right? And so that kind of was the turning point / inspiration. And I really just took things one step at a time, because when I had the conversation with my father, I had not really grappled with what was going to have to come next. Right? Like I'm going to have to start my own freaking firm. And and so it was one step at a time. And by the by, my husband now he's a business school professor and a former hedge fund manager. So and he's 12 years older than me. So he has business success at the time. I very much respected his success. And he said, no, you can do this. And I thought, if he thinks so, I can do it. Right. And my father let me leave the firm with the small cohort of clients I had at the time, which turned out to be about $160,000 a year in recurring revenue. So I didn't start from nothing. Right. And I decided that the way I was going to do this is I was going to have my weakness be a strength. So the fact that I'm different, that I'm female, that I'm young, I'm actually just going to be the most that. I'm not going to try to compete with those guys, right? I'm just going to be massively different. I had this download in the shower one day, and I was thinking, so like intimidated by what was ahead of me. And I realized, when I go to see the doctor, I always see female doctors, and that's just my choice. I don't want to see males. And there's there's a thing that happened, right? But, and so for me, I need to see female doctors. And I had the download, the thought occurred to me, Hilary, there must be women out there who want to see female planners, right? It must be there. And I took this random boot camp marketing course. And she had a video at the beginning of the course. It was like low production, but super mid-aughts kind of, a course. And she had this video of herself walking down the street with sunglasses on, getting into a convertible. The course was called Creating Fame. It was about building a personality brand, right? Because I thought I can do video. That's what I can do. I've always been a public speaker. I did a TEDx talk. I did debate in college. This is the thing I can do that's like unique. So I took this class called Creating Fame. I knew I wanted to create a personality brand. And in this video, she said, when you think that the people who determine celebrity are going to come and knock on your door, and I'm here to tell you, it's never going to happen. You have to nominate yourself every day in every way. You show up in every room like your presence is benefited by the fact that I'm here, right? Who's going to be the top 30 under 30? It's me. Who's going to be 40 under 40? It's me. Who's going to build this firm? It's me. Why? Because I said so. Right. And it was like life altering for me. I mean, I think most women are like raised to be, in implicit and explicit ways, wallflowers. Like, wait for the acknowledgement. Sit quietly. Don't speak out. Don't take issue with what's happening. Don't put a stake in the ground. And I had really internalized that. Like, success is out there. And once they see, like, I can ace the test, so I must be able to do this corporate thing well. But no, I couldn't. Because, people who are naturally I guess entrepreneurs or founders, I mean, founder in Silicon Valley has a different meaning. Like, but I did found the firm. People who are naturally founders are sort of notoriously terrible employees. And I've been fired many times. And once I decided to nominate myself, I mean, it impacts how you show up on social media. It impacts how you write. It impacts how you speak. You know, the fact that I'm willing to dog and pony myself and talk about my successes is only born out of that notion that if I don't tell you, you don't know, right? You're busy. Your job is not to go look up my GMAT score, not that it's even available, or read my website or look at my socials, right? I have to show up and be willing to let you know who I am, what I'm worth, my value, what I can do. And I tell you, my success absolutely mushroomed. Those two things, the download in the shower and that one video with the sunglasses and I wish I should write to her and tell her how much that video impacted my life, really mushroomed. And it is a mindset I've kept around definitely since then. And, at this point, we've gone from about 150 in revenues to about 2 million in recurring revenues. So the business is really, really mushroomed from where I never thought my numbers could possibly be this high.
So when you think about that in terms of taking that as this new mindset, are there places in your life where it creeps in and you're shocked that you don't have the mindset there? Like, were you able to kind of, you said mushroom, were you able to like encompass everything about you into this idea of pick me, self-promotion? Like, there is a reason for the conversations that we're having, or were there a few areas of your life where you recognized that you still needed to learn that lesson?
That's an insightful question. I bristled a teeny bit at the pick me phrase because I think being a pick me girl is not a good thing right now.
But we can have whatever definitions we want on this show, though.
Okay, you got it.
We got smart listeners, really smart listeners.
Oh, I mean, when you sit with a prospective multimillionaire client, yeah, definitely pick me. You should pick me.
Yeah.
God, that's a really insightful question.
I'm going to give you an example of where it has hit me. So leaving Wall Street, or not even leaving, but leaving my corporate job, staying involved in boards, getting a publishing contract has, rocked my world. And I am the one that's always pushing boundaries. My whole teams are always like a little bit laughing at me because I'm like, "Ooh, I could do that," or "I could be over there," or "Why don't I go to that conference and why don't I do this?" And I'm like pulling things together all the time. And I don't doubt my ability of doing well at these things. I can't control whether a reader likes my book, but I can absolutely make sure that I find a way to connect their experience to why they should read what I wrote. But recently, because the book it'll be out by the time this podcast comes out, my debut will be out. People have been asking for like how they can get a signed copy, like how I can sign their book. And it threw me. I'm like,
because now you're someone people want your signature.
Why do you want my signature? Like it just, and so I was like talking to my daughter about it and she's like, of course I do, Mom. And I'm like, what? And so it's just like that whole idea of like, I'm really trying to, I think you're much better at this than I am, but I feel like I came to writing already having been in a job that required a certain amount of, hey, I know what I'm good at. There's a confidence that I'm with. This is the way that I can present myself and do well with it. But I'm still discovering little pieces of me where I'm like, why in the world would you want my signature on a piece of paper? Like, just read the book.
Oh my gosh, that is so cute. I get it. Let's see, 2 places. First, as the team has grown, my role has shifted. I used to be rainmaking and client meetings, and now I'm rainmaking and team development. I still work with a sample of clients. My mother's a client, so I probably need to show up in her meetings. And I relate to myself like I'm really good at both rainmaking and being with clients. And there is a part of me who thinks, what is this team development thing? Like, I'm not sure I'm cut out to be the mentor, you know? So there's that a little bit. And then what was I going to say? The other piece, I think just as the company has grown, I'm a mom, and I think I've started saying I'm a one-trick pony. So in life, I relate to myself like I'm really good at like three things. And I just don't have time for anything else. And it's humbling. It's humbling.
Yeah,
I lived it for a while in a community where the ladies play golf all the time. And I wouldn't start. I wouldn't even
right.
learn. Yeah. So
Right. The amount of time that it takes to even be able to show up. Exactly. I
yeah,
think the thing that transformed my thinking along the lines of, as you grow in any of the roles, there's new responsibilities and new opportunities that are provided for you is something called Strength Finder. And
I've done that.
yeah, and what I loved about it was just this idea that I didn't have to be great at everything, because I'm the tend to be the kind of person that's like, oh, I'm not a doctor, but I'll play one on TV. Oh no, I don't do that, but I'll pretend like I'll get enough information to sort of be dangerously, fluent in and being able
Uh-huh.
to speak about it, but I
This is a
actually
theme for
really
you.
be able to do it. Yeah. That's why I love telling stories, because I can put myself into roles really easily, and I love what story does. And I've noticed it in my life my entire time, my entire career, and even before that. So what I love about Strength Finder is that you can then pull people in to say, well, I actually know that I'm not really good at this part. So I need somebody who does that thing well that I partner with. And then I think that's a fantastically freeing moment of not always having to be excellent in all the things that are expected of us in
That's real.
every facet of our job.
I think having that realization and being willing to be the team builder, the person who puts the people in the seats on the bus, is critical if you're going to run any kind of organization. I absolutely agree. My top skill on the skills finder is futuristic, not
Mhm.
futurist, futuristic. So I'm always 2, 3, 5 years from now, always. In fact, my therapist hates it. He's like, you cast your happiness into the future, be present in the moment. I'm like, I can't. So I've definitely hired people to keep me in today.
Oh, that's beautiful. Oh, that is
Yeah.
beautiful. Okay, so as we're thinking about today and we are launching a new year with 2026, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about what we maybe just touched on in the beginning was just this mindset and the mindset of folks as they think about maybe their own wealth, their own thoughts on money. What are some ways that you help your clients diagnose unhealthy or unsupportive concepts of money?
I sometimes use the word destructive. Some
Oh,
money
okay.
concepts are destructive. They disappear
Okay.
money. And I had that one. So I can say it from personal experience. So let me tell you a personal anecdote, a story.
Mm,
So there I am, about 5 years into my career in my father's firm. So I'm a certified financial planner. I'm advising multimillionaires during the day, and I go home at night to a stack of bills that I won't open because I can't pay them. So I was a massive overspender. Okay. And it all came to a head at one point. I had stepped away from financial advising and to learn sales. I was being a commission only mortgage lender. Okay.
mm,
And when mortgage dried up in 2006, there I was with a condo that
mm,
I had over borrowed on, a leased BMW convertible, and something
mm,
like $50,000 of credit card debt. So I got to the point where all my bank accounts were empty and my credit cards were maxed out. And if it had not been for my mother's guest room, I literally would have
mm,
been homeless. Okay.
mm,
So it was incredibly humbling. I was ashamed. I felt like the scum of the earth. Like here I had every advantage. I have a head for numbers, a degree in economics that my parents paid for at a private Jesuit university, right? And I have a 400 FICO score and like something like $500,000 in debt if you include the mortgage, right? And so I had the thought, okay, I can figure this out. Like I got to figure this out. Otherwise, my future is going to be nothing but more, better, different, bigger versions of this.
Right.
And so I said to myself, well, what's the difference between me, my friends who are also econ graduates? Some of them are doing really well financially, and I'm not. What's the difference? We both have good intentions, but I have really bad results. And the reason I talk about economics graduates is only because I'm holding degrees consistent, right? Like I want to control the experiment. And what I saw was it must come from psychology because money is impacted by behavior. So what's my money psychology? So I started going to the money psychology track at the financial advisory conferences. And I heard this one woman speak. Her name is Denise Hughes. She's still around. She's a good friend right now. And she's the first person who said to me the phrase overspender. And I think that phrase is ubiquitous now, but it wasn't at the time. And so I didn't know, but the minute she said it, I knew that I was one.
Yeah.
And this really sent me down this deep dive of studying money psychology. And, it's really interesting that you say you're a neuroscientist.
Neuroscience
So,
major, yeah.
neuroscience. So there's a neuroscientist at Stanford who talked about how in the Russian language, they have 5 or 6 different words for the color blue. And if you test Russian speakers versus English speakers, Russians can see more hues or shades of blue. So words give a conceptual thing distinction, bring it from the background into the foreground. And it turns out this is what happens with money. And there are actually, there's writing about this in neuroscience texts. But neuroscientists still sometimes struggle with money. So it's really fascinating to me that it's not a more promoted kind of topic, but money is very conceptual. So just like time, right? Time is conceptual, money is conceptual. Very difficult for a child to understand it. And if I say to you 2 things about time, so first of all, time flies when you're having fun versus what's a phrase is like, oh, there's never enough time. There's never enough time. Very different experiences of the conceptual thing called time. Money is the same way. And we all get impacted, unfortunately, most of us by our parents who got impacted by their parents. But your parents are going to say something like, there's never enough money, or money doesn't grow on trees, or money is drama, money is complicated, and the worst one, the most destructive one is money is the root of all evil, right? Now, these phrases are all in the zeitgeist. You've heard every one of the things I just said, but something like that is impacting you in the realm of money, unless you've taken the time and energy as an adult to transcend it, which you can do. But it turns out, my mom had a laboratory position. She was a really good saver. So our spending cash was slim. Now, and I was the starting center on the high school basketball team. I'm 5'10", okay? I wanted Nike high tops. Everyone on my team had Nike high tops. She took me to Payless Shoe Source and I got Pro Wings, okay? It was embarrassing. I was embarrassed. I called them Likeys. Do you remember Payless Shoe Source? Am I dating myself? Yeah.
No, I totally do.
And so to me, there was never enough money. There was never enough money for the things that I wanted. And when you believe there's never enough money, counterintuitively, when money comes into your world, because the human brain cannot hold contradictory beliefs for very long. We do not like cognitive dissonance. If there's money in your bank account, if you believe there's never enough money, you got to spend it. Okay. So I had grand plans to spend, and spend I did. I used to say if I earned $100,000, I would spend 120. Now there's some people who earn $100,000 and spend 200. So mine wasn't that bad. It could have been worse.
It's all relative. Yes.
It's all relative. But if you look at your money mindsets and your money results over time, they tend to be linear. They tend to be the same. So for example, if I'm someone in 2010 who earns $100,000 and spends 120, in 2011, I'm not going to earn $100,000 and spend only 80. It tends to be persistent and consistent, right?
Right.
I also had, my parents had divorced when I was young, and there was a big fight over, custody and child support. And my dad never wanted to write the check to my mom. My mom always let me know when the check had not been written. And my dad said to me, I know that's a whole nother interview. My dad said to me, I don't want to owe her money. I don't want her to have that kind of power over me. And I said, oh, money is power. So this is why instead of being engaged in the process of becoming financially healthy, I was engaged in the project of proving to other people that I already was. So I had the leased BMW 330 Ci convertible when in reality I had no money in my bank account, right?
Right.
Like I couldn't even afford to put gas in the tank at the end. Well, at the end of my financial bad patterns. And so the first step is really to just take a step back and kind of accept, I do have some money beliefs. They're there somewhere. They tend to be the air you breathe about water, the water you drink, the air you breathe, the water you swim in about money. So it may take a second, but you can find there are clues in what you say and think about money. For many of us, unfortunately, we only talk to ourselves about money, or maybe some of us talk to our partners about money, right? But you'll find your money, I call it your money operating system, in those conversations, in those communications, in the mindsets that give rise to those opinions and experiences. So once you have, followed the clues and kind of figured out what your money mindset might be, well, the really good news is that you can transcend that. And you can transcend it by producing results that don't align with your money mindset, and then allowing through neuroplasticity your mind to kind of go that direction. Now, it's not a class on transcending your money mindset. However, automating different results, and you can automate your money, obviously. I mean, just set up account transfers and then you don't mess with it. Automating your money, in my opinion, is the most effective way, as long as you're consciously allowing your mindsets to unravel and follow the new patterns that you're creating, is the most effective way to rewire your money mind.
Yes. Well, and
I
just that
talked a lot.
awareness. No, it's so valuable. So that awareness of when we started to build our mental model of how money interplays with our life is so important. And I mean, I've thought about this for a long time, but you put it really simply, because I was really visualizing you as a child watching your mother save, watching the things that you want not happening. So therefore your sort of excitement for when you could get money, you would, want to be able to use it. I had the almost exactly different perspective. Like my perspective were parents that spent way more than we had. We never had enough. And then they were just, my mother's a wonderful person, but a total overspender in the classic way of like small things that don't actually amount to anything. So I am a oversaver.
So you'll find yourself in a
Which is
knee-jerk reaction
yes,
to that.
yes,
Yeah, that's common
yes.
too.
And so what's interesting to me is that I notice, and it's almost humiliating, and I hate to even admit it on the air, but whatever. People have been listening to me for a few years now, share secrets. But one of them is like, I really don't have a big problem with like big spends. Like, I don't have a big problem with like massive amounts, because that requires a budget and you're like looking
Like
at
a
it.
car or a new roof.
Yeah, exactly. Like, okay, yeah, sure. Like we're gonna do that and we're gonna do this big thing. I don't like it having to spend things on things that aren't fun, but like that doesn't get to me. What gets to me is the little things. Because that's what I witnessed was just like their wallets were like sieves, and so I'm always trying, and my kids call me out on all the time. They're like, anyway, it's a crazy mindset of it is a recognition that it is something that I struggle with and that it impacts other people. And I don't want to be not generous in the little things. I tend to be generous in the really big things, but then I tend to, like, oh, I can't go get that coffee. I can't do that. I can't do that. And it's just, I'm always trying to educate myself on the value of spending small amounts without going overboard, but I don't think I could ever even go overboard. Like
Right.
that's just not the way I'm wired.
Well, your money operating system happens to be successful, right? I mean, you're a saver, so you're
Right.
producing good financial results. So the motivation to transcend it might not be so intense. However,
Mm.
what you're describing is that you're still in the grip of it. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
So there's no freedom. And so the word describe means to draw a circle around. So anything in the
Mm.
circle is what money is and anything not isn't. And the truth is money has no nature. Money is a
Right.
complete blank canvas, right?
Yep.
And so until you get to a place where your money beliefs are a total invention and you relate to them like an invention, you'll have no freedom. Now, you could go up
Mm.
for life. You would be successful. Like there's no real reason for you to do the work or do the hard work or you're doing fine. But
Right.
it's just really great that it's really great for your listeners that you described how it still has a grip on you, and it
Still
will.
has a grip. And
Yeah.
I want, and I'm just a person of wanting excellence around me and not wanting to let people down. So it's definitely something that I am aware of and constantly moving forward, but I just never had maybe connected all the dots in the way that you helped me do. I would also mention that you were talking about time, these like big concepts in life. And I feel like a lot of people approach finances thinking that it's kind of all about the money. But I know that when I wrote my book, I had each character have a currency, and it was never money. It was always something that they wanted. Like someone wants power over others, someone wants recognition over all things. Their currency was rarely just the idea of amassing more money. It was what they could do with that money
Yeah.
that brought them some satisfaction. And so it was fun to explore that in a novel because you can sort of, you can create people as opposed to, finding them in real life. And, they don't always like you diagnosing them, in the elevator.
Funny that.
I know. How annoying, Christine. So, I think that's another piece of this mindset is just the idea of having money be the tool that brings you what it is that you're trying to accomplish or what currency is important to you. Because I think people tend to just sort of dissolve it down to, well, it's just a number. I just need to get to this number, or I will be happy when I've amassed this number. When in effect, it's really irrelevant to
Hmm.
your ability to have the goals that you need or the satisfaction that you need in your life.
I think your impression of how most people think about money may reflect a non-random sample. It might. My experience is, especially with women, even high-powered, successful women, there's a lot of mystery, intrigue, intimidation, and oppression, more so than
Mm,
what you speak of.
mm,
And more power to you. I'm sure that's your friends and colleagues and coworkers, given what you've done with your life. But I wholeheartedly agree that once you have more once you're not living paycheck to paycheck, like assuming you're amassing some wealth and growing your net worth, then your financial life becomes about achieving goals that have dollars attached to them. I mean,
yeah.
sending your kids to
Yeah.
college,
Right.
retiring, being able to pay
Yes.
cash for a car, et cetera, spending $20,000 a year on vacations, taking a 30-day sabbatical, whatever those goals are,
Yeah.
right? And you can put price tags on those. And of course, those are
Absolutely.
qualitative experiences, right?
Right. Right. And in that case, it's like, oh, well, send your kid to a private school. It's $250,000 more nowadays, probably $400,000 to
I
send them to
agree.
a nice private school.
Where they're going to get a job,
Right.
maybe paying $62,000 a year.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Exactly. But oh, they'll be having fun. But then it's like, but that number is really always representing the fact that you're trying to give somebody this experience, or you yourself are trying to have an experience. So I could talk to you forever. So our last question is going to be about something you've read recently or something you want to read that maybe would be inspiring to our listeners. But before we do that, I would love for you to share with our listeners how they can get in touch with you. Maybe describe your practice a little bit so that they know whether you're someone that they should be getting in touch with, but then share with them, what that might look like if they were to work with your office.
Sure. Gosh, thanks. So the name of the firm is Hendershott Wealth Management, and Hendershott is phonetic, if you don't mind, because that tends to be a name that people really struggle with. I don't know why. It's phonetic, like Henderson, but with shot at the end, SHOTT. So you can find me on the interwebs, all the places. We are a comprehensive, meaning we look at everything that touches your financial life. Fiduciary, meaning I don't have any products to sell you. I don't have any commissionable annuities, life insurance, any types of insurance. We don't sell anything except our advice, which means we sit on the same side of the table as our clients. I think that's important. Wealth management firm. We would love to partner with people who are growing their net worth over time. Our typical client tends to be something over 35 years old. We work with a lot of Silicon Valley folks. And then just as a sidebar, as a result, frankly, some of the tax advice out there being so inefficient, ineffective, and bad, my team and I have developed a very strong skill set in tax reduction, tax minimization. We call it ultra tax efficient wealth management. And we are especially good at helping people pay minimal capital gains on large business transactions or exits. So if you are interested, of course, all our initial conversations are obligation and cost-free. Just go to hendershottwealth.com. Thank you for that.
Sure.
Yeah, we've designed the firm to be extremely responsive. We're always respond to clients within like 20 minutes most of the time. So that was another thing we heard was really a complaint from most people is I met with the guy, right, in the big office that smelled like leather and mahogany, and he was great, and I never saw him again. So we're not that. And I'll tell you, I have a very curated reading list these days. My job, of course, is to stay out ahead of what people are talking about in the economy and the stock market. So I'm constantly, I have a few news sources that I'm looking to for inspiration to write, and that tends to be most of my academic professional reading. But on the personal side, and it does relate to what we were talking about today, there's a book by Byron Katie called Loving What Is. Now, this is very seemingly off topic for a show about Wall Street careers and ETFs. However, I think it's actually very relevant. I see people suffering more about so-called the state of the world or politics than I think is necessary. I personally have a very sick child. So it's a lot. She's been sick for years, and it's been very hard for me. And someone gave me this book, and Byron Katie's thesis is essentially your suffering is a measure of the degree to which you resist what's so. And I can't give you the book in a simple sentence, but it's been really valuable for me. I'm really looking to decrease anxiety and increase my ability to impact the world. And so I would recommend giving that a read.
It sounds a little bit like the Serenity Prayer in a book. Yeah.
Yes.
That's beautiful. And coming from someone who is mothering there's just, to me, there's almost nothing worse than your kid suffering. So Thank you. Thank you so much for that recommendation. And thank you so much for your time, Hilary. This has been just a wonderful conversation, and I appreciate you so much with your vulnerability and willing to share with our listeners.
Thanks for having me.
And thank you, our listeners, for spending your time with us. I hope this is not just information, but you let it be transformational in how you think about your career. I'm rooting for you. If you're an Apple user, I'd really appreciate it if you took a few seconds to leave a rating and a review. Your ratings and reviews tell Apple that this is a podcast worth listening to. And in turn, your reviews will help We Talk Careers get in front of more listeners looking to succeed, just like you. And while you're there, go ahead and hit that follow button. because there's going to be another brand new episode and you don't want to miss it. Until then, keep thriving. Thank you for listening.